So this directed investigation for you guys is due Monday week, and we'll finish. Holsty, I know you need to listen, okay? So try and listen the best you can. This is due Monday week for all of you, and we'll stop using class time about Wednesday of next week. All right, so it'll just the more you can churn out, the better, basically, in class from now until then. So the first one talks about find a definition or a dictionary meaning that relates to marking up, but a dictionary often will only relate to words. All right. I've worked with Holsty over there before. In your Google search or whatever search engine you use, do things like financial dictionary. Try and get into a financial dictionary. And then hyphen markup, or what does markup mean? With a question, okay? Because then that'll search it within a financial dictionary rather than just your normal dictionary, which is something you might use in English. So I'd pump something like that into my search engine, and you might find that it comes up with a reasonable response there. Okay, that'd be the first thing, and try and make it relate to clothes, shopping in general, rather than something irrelevant to that. So that's really a worded question, that one. But after that, a lot of them aren't. Remember, this goes on YouTube, so if you need to get any clarity, you can look back over it. Then you go into the Radio Rentals website. Okay, now unfortunately the Radio Rentals website, I'm not going to be able to do that. Sorry. The Radio Rentals website used to have some real fine print, because not only do you go in and buy something from that Radio Rentals website, and it might be, let's just say it's a flat screen TV, and it might be $2,558, okay? The issue with a lot of these organisations is that they're sort of doing you a favour. So if you haven't got the cash for that, they'll do you a favour. You could pay, say, $62.15 a week. Okay? Now, some of you, maybe many of you, will be looking down the apprenticeship pathway when you leave school. And your leaving school might be as short as a year and a half away, into year 10. You might pick up an apprenticeship then. It's not very long away, really, when you look at it like that. Unfortunately, with an apprenticeship wage, it's not very inviting. It's not very much. There's not much to your apprenticeship wage in your first year. So, but also that apprenticeship might be in a location like Yorktown, where you have to move away from home because you really want that opportunity. You really want that job. So you move away from home, you need a TV, you really want this flat screen TV, and you can't afford $2,558. But when you look at the fine print, you go, oh, look, I could afford $62 a week. I could do that. Now, because they allow you to do $62 a week, there's a lot of things called an establishment fee, and it comes down on this third page. There's things like an account keeping fee. Okay, this one's around $65. This is around $4.95 for every month. And given that you're doing it for 36 months, there's a lot of extra expenses. And they also expect that you pay a deposit of 15%. And so the upshot of that is that you'll often pick an item, this flat screen TV, which is advertised for $2,558. If you can't go on those terms, you might go on these terms with all of this attached. And you can see that all of these will add up. That $2,558 TV may cost you in the end $4,500. You may pay nearly double. All right? And that's what we're trying to investigate. $62.15 looks really good to a person out of school moving on their own or with friends until you see all the fine print. And when you see the fine print and you find out what you're paying at the end, that doesn't look attractive anymore, does it? That TV all of a sudden is $4,500, but it's only costing you, should have cost you $2,550. No, they have a bit of a clause, Halsey. It's a good question, where they say you have to pay off so much before you can trade up or trade out of it. Yeah. So say on that they might say you've got to pay off to $2,000 before they'll let you trade up or trade out. Yeah, it's a good question. So that's the I guess the major bit of information you need to know. We're just trying to, I'm trying to get you educated in the fact that 62.15 looks great, but in reality it's sometimes not. Now, in this first bit here, you're going to choose 2 items, okay, from the Radio Rentals website and calculate the interest you would owe if you didn't pay your debt on time. And the calculation process for that is just above. And it's using that there. You can see it in front of you, and I'll write it up here a bit larger. That your item might be $475, item number 1. Okay, it might be a, I don't know, coffee machine, because you need to get out of bed with a bit of a buzz in the morning. Might be a coffee machine, $475. What I'm telling you is the 5% is going to stay standard because they've taken the fine print out of the catalogues. And you're going to times it by 3 because we're going to do all these calculations for 3 years. Okay? So this is using what formula? Simple interest formula. It's talking about using the PIN formula. Yeah? This is your principal, or the amount you had to pay. This is your interest, and this is the period of time. So this is using your PIN formula. That will give you an amount of interest, and when you add that to your original cost of $475, you'll find that that $475 item actually costs you a lot more. Let's do it quickly, I suppose. $475 times 5%, which is 5 over 100, which as a decimal is 0.05, times by 3. You're paying $71.25 in interest. So all up, you're paying $546.25 for that item. Okay, just under the PIN formula and the PIN process. A little bit of simple interest. All right. So you do that with one item there, you do it with the second item there, and you should have enough room to do that. Are there any questions with that, or can I explain it better for anybody? Gareth? Trent, sorry? Was that a yes to me? No? Yep, no worries. Okay, the next bit is what I was talking about a little bit before, around the fine print. Let's propose we're purchasing something for $4,447, but we can't afford it. Okay, so they're telling us we can pay that $62.15 that I spoke about before. All right? The deposit to be paid before the purchase is 15%. All rentals are for 36 months. They won't let you pay it off shorter than that. So you might say, oh, but I got more than I expected, and I'm going to be able to pay this off quicker. It's too bad. You have to stick to the 3 years, all right, which is 36 months.
Why?
Why do you think they do it? Apart from annoy you, why do you think they do that? It's a good question, Taylor.
To get more money.
To get more money out of you. All right. The longer you're in it,
More fees.
more fees. That's right.
Interest.
Absolutely. On top of the more fees, what might happen in 2.5 years' time? You might go, "Wow, that flat screen TV is not the latest and greatest anymore. I'm already with them. I'll just go to them and I'll just upgrade." Yeah, you can. But then you stay with them and you just keep buying products. Georgie.
Like with Mum at the electrical, they do InRed, and you can get out of your contract if it's like so far, but you have to pay like half of it off,
Yeah.
and you have to do it within a week.
And then you have to also pay money to get out of that contract, don't you? All right, it's almost a contract. All right. So what I'm hoping is you learn a bit, out of this stuff in terms of real life. So what we've got to, if you follow this process, folks, you should be okay with the next bit down the bottom here, which is you're gonna find 3 items. Okay, so you're gonna have to pay 15% of the total cost. 15%, we know 15 over 100, and you come out with $667. In order to get that item, you're going to have to pay them $667 cash. On top of that, you've got a weekly rental of $62.15 for 36 months. $62.15 times 3 years, because that was per week. All right, 3 years, there's 52 weeks in a year. All right, so if it's daily, how many days are there in a year? 365. All right. So if it was a daily rental, you'd have to times it by 365, times it by 3. Okay. That comes out to be $9,695.40, already double. Plus you've got to pay your application fee of $65. Plus you've got to pay $4.95 every month. So that's times 36, $178.20. When you add this to this, to this, to this, your $4,447 TV has cost you $10,605.65. Why does that suit you? It's because you can't afford this up front. So it does suit you. Okay? Unfortunately, though, you end up paying double what the item was worth.
Why can't you just wait and save up?
That's your choice you make. Absolutely. Then you're without a TV for that period of time. Okay, so that is the process, guys, that you follow for this. Hopefully you're able to follow on your sheet of paper in front of you. That's the process here. You've got 3 items that you're going to purchase, and you're going to do the above mentioned totals and process through here. But remember, they asked you for the total cost and what interest was paid. So what was that last one? It was something like 10,605. So I would have done all my calculations here. I'm now trying to calculate the interest. 4,447, wasn't it? So my interest in that one that I paid, I know this isn't completely accurate with what we just worked out. The total interest that I paid was $6,158. Yeah, so that's the total interest paid, and the total cost for that item. So I would write total interest and total cost, $10,605. Okay, is that clear with everybody? If you look on the very back, guys, of your assignment, there's a mark scheme. Okay. Now, on that mark scheme, you may be very successful in the first 2 areas, but if you don't put in dollar signs and if you don't put in sentence answers, 6,158 was the total interest, and if you don't do 10,605 was the total cost for the $4,447 TV, then unfortunately that communication area is going to be quite low. You may get a D or an E for that section, and that'll drag all your marks down a bit. Okay, so have a look at that mark scheme very carefully, and I'll explain it to you one-to-one if need be. All right. Can I explain that better for anyone, that process? Is that all right? Yep. If you are somebody who hasn't started, then I suggest maybe you use the information from there now and get started on your DI. Okay, that might be the best thing. The rest of it will be saved on YouTube, so you can be looking at it as you go. All right.